Hey guys, we're here at Phoenix for episode 2 of the HotLaps segment, race 2 of the Oval Drivers World Championship schedule. This is a really fun track. It should be a pretty interesting race. I know this track is a favorite of mine. I know it's a favorite of a lot of drivers in our series as well as real life. It's just a very unique track. Every corner on here is a little bit different. The banking is a little bit different. It recently got repaved in real life. We don't have that on here yet, but the racing is still awesome here. Every corner is, like I said, a little bit different. The banking is a little bit different. Coming off low can affect the entire straightaway speed versus coming off high. It definitely promotes two-wide racing. This is going to be a very cool segment to do. This week I have my teammate Dumpy D, John Gorlinski. He's going to run some laps for us, and he's fast every week. So let's take some laps with him, and he's going to show us how to get around this place. You're going to see him go down into turn 1, hard on the brakes, but once he gets down in the middle of the corner, he kind of lets off the brakes, lets the car roll a little bit. Comes off, you're going to see his wheel get a little crazy. That's just how this car acts coming off turn 2, coming off low. Again, keep an eye on his throttle and brake inputs, because how people get into these corners is going to dictate what this car does on the long run. You can see he's not using too much throttle on entry. It's just a little bit of brake, a lot of coasting, works that diamond through 3 and 4, and he powers up off the corner. Phoenix is one of the few racetracks where you could really have a really good two-wide race all the way around the track in sim racing. We're going to have 2 choices of lanes to run through, 1 and 2. You can kind of run the bottom, but coming up off the corner of 2, you're going to want to be high if you want to run. Now, when guys are too wide coming off that corner, the guy high is always going to prevail unless he makes a mistake up there. Through the center and on entry, that inside line is tough to beat just because it's the shortest way around. But I think you're going to see most of the stronger cars, especially once tires wear and it gets a little bit greasy on older tires, you're going to see them move up the track and start running high through 1 and 2. The kink is another part of this track that it's a blast. You can get down there and hit the rumble strips with the left sides and it can upset the car. Going into turn 3, we're going to drive in relatively deep. Nice and smooth on the brakes. If you use brakes and throttle at the same time, it's going to keep the car loose because of how it transitions the weight. Now, the guys that are going to be able to run really good times for the entire run are the guys that are going to be coasting a lot into the corners. It's not easy to do in a pack, obviously, with everyone going in so deep, but the guys that are going to be able to coast and flow into the corners really smooth, kind of work a little diamond through 3 and 4, they're going to be the ones that you're going to have to keep an eye on. The exit of turn 4, there's a flat part of the banking where the dotted line is that really upsets the car, or it helps it turn depending on how you hit it. The wall comes out a little bit off turn 4, and the cars are always at a little bit of a yaw because of how we have our toe set up in the rear. If you come off turn 4 trying to get everything out of it, it is very, very easy to clip that right rear of the car on that little part of the wall that sticks out. Most of the field is going to level off at about the same lap times after about 11 or 12 laps. Guys know that they have to make their passes and take advantage of people before the tires heat up, or else they're going to get stuck. The most dangerous areas traditionally in sim races at Phoenix for years have been entry into the corners. People are going to be trying to outbrake people, especially in the turn 3 where you carry so much speed down the backstretch and it's very easy to clip the apron, get the car sideways, have to chase it up the track right into that car that's outside of you. Being careful not to slide the tires on entry into the corners under braking is going to be a premium, as it always has been in sim racing. This track, it's very, very easy to get on the brakes and start sliding the rear of the car in order to get it rotating on entry. Now, it might feel good for maybe 10 laps, but without realizing it, you are ruining the handle of the car, because once those tires heat up too much and it gets too greasy, you really can't maneuver at all, and you just got to start paving the car. The entry to pit road here comes up fast off turn 4. If you're pitting in green flag conditions during the race, you got to make sure you have a little bit space behind you, because as soon as you start coming down the track and entering pit road, not only will the car get a little bit upset transferring down onto that flatter racetrack under where that dotted line is, but you have to get slowed down very quickly, or else you're going to be speeding into pit road, or you're going to collide head on with those tire barriers. I've done it before in sim racing. It's easy to do, and you have to be able to control your car under you while you're entering pit road. We don't really have the luxury of a spotter who can tell us exactly when someone's exiting the pits and when we're going to get to them. And by the time you see that car to your left, you are hitting that car to your left. it's going to be very important that we watch our F3 screen, which tells us how far ahead or behind a car is. We're going to be able to go about 70 laps on fuel. Now, tires and fuel strategy for pit stops, we are most likely going to base our strategy on how much fuel we need. If we only need to fill up half of our fuel tank, then we're only going to take 2 tires. In sim racing here on iRacing, our tire temps and tire heat mean quite a bit more compared to the actual tread left on the tire. This is going to be a common theme for this season. That wraps it up here at Phoenix for me. I really hope this was helpful for you guys watching. I can't wait for next week because it's going to be at Bristol, and that place is always a blast to cruise around. So I'll see you guys then.